So a big thing with storms, especially if it's a big storm and it's fresh, a lot of people are going to wait. A lot of people tend to wait until they see damage or there's a leak or something before they have someone look at their roof.
Pretty much.
You don't want to deal with it. It's expensive. Yeah. It's time consuming. So wait. So a lot of times when you wait, it's a lot harder to get the insurance approval because you're fighting for it a little bit harder. Whereas when you're doing a fresh off a storm, they know that storm just hit.
Okay.
And a lot of people are going to be filing the claims for it. So we talk to our customers. We let them know, hey, we're here to help you. We want you to get this taken care of before it becomes a major issue.
You're listening to the Money Doctor, Money Talk for Modern Entrepreneurs podcast. And I'm your host, Mildred Dillon CPA. And if you're a modern entrepreneur, you're not just sitting behind a desk all day. You're probably driving right now with your phone in your hand, mapping your way to your next destination, scrolling on social media, maybe putting out your own posts to share your offerings, changing the world around you one client at a time. And that's a lot, but you wouldn't have it any other way. So if that describes you, you're going to love what we talk about on this podcast because I'm going to be sharing my own experiences, hosting others so that we can all get there together. Are you ready? Let's get to work. Okay. On this month's episode of the Money Doctor podcast, dealing with the world of insurance. Insurance makes us whole in case the worst were to happen. The unexpected, you end up filing a claim is how you request that an insurance company writes a check. That is, hopefully, if you've got the right insurances in place, the right types, the right amounts, all of that goes into having the best experience, even when the worst happens. So we're going to be featuring Melissa Phan. She actually, someone I met very recently at a networking. She's marketing in the area of property and casualty, the things that we can touch. She's going to be sharing with us all about not just roofing, but filing claims overall, so that if the worst were to happen, we'd have that lump sum of money to come in and keep on moving. Okay, here's Melissa Phan. I want to welcome you to the Money Doctor, Money Talk for Modern Entrepreneurs podcast.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
You. And the irony, I guess, is you're not an entrepreneur. You have a day job. Check that out. I would have never known that. And that's why this is just so exciting to even talk to you, because you hustle like those of us who have to eat what we kill.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I describe it. I eat what I kill. Okay, so it's serious for me. I'm not just going to things to be going to things, but you hustle.
So I like to stay busy. So I think that what I do is perfect for me because there's always something going on and I can't sit still. Like I am not the one to sit down with 3 hours of free time and pick up a new hobby. I wish I could be that person. My life would be so much easier, but I'm like, okay, what's going on? Where can I put my time? Who can I go meet? That's how I function. So I think what I do is perfect for someone with that mentality.
If you're new listening to the podcast, yes, I'm a CPA, but I'm licensed in Texas and also Louisiana. I started, though, in Louisiana, 22 years and counting, licensed as a CPA, money doctor here. It just made 18. Every time Hurricane Katrina has an anniversary, we have an anniversary. Yes, it's a kind of sad way to look at it, but people have heard it when we just had an anniversary, August 29th. So how did you get into this? I guess that's the question. Were you intentional? Like that's your degree and I'm looking for this type of job, or did it just fall in your lap? Because both can be true.
Yeah. So this job completely fell in my lap. I didn't know if I wanted to go into roofing. That was never really something I was like, I want to go into roofing and be a roofer. That was never at all something that was planted in my brain. I went to school for psychology and child development. Super different than what I do now. Honestly, the psychology background is super helpful in reading people and networking. So I do love the knowledge I have from that. But I went to school to become a licensed therapist. That was always the dream.
Okay.
I taught preschool right out of college, did that for a little while. Wasn't making that much as a teacher. I was struggling a little bit.
Fortunately.
And then I was teaching during COVID. And then one day I was like, I can't do this. This is just not fulfilling anymore. Every day I was going into work, I was crying either on the way there or on the way home. And I'm like, this is not fun anymore. luxury fitness gym,
I've
and I
seen
was
that.
doing membership sales.
Sales.
Yeah, so I did that for
Yeah.
2 years, and about halfway through, I had this realization. I was like, I love the aspect of my job, that kind of what I'm doing now, where I'm meeting people, helping people, connecting people. That part I loved. I hated the instability of it. So there were a lot of high highs and really low lows, and
Yeah.
the roller coaster of the commission only structure of my job and all of that. I just couldn't do it. I was working holidays, I was working
Ugh,
weekends. I never got to really see family, and my family's all
like
in Houston.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
like
started.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but it was definitely a lot harder. I feel like it was just not fun. And my now boss and CEO, it was actually someone I signed up.
Wow.
He had asked me, "Hey, so would you ever consider a career change?" And I was like, "What do you have in mind?" So we got lunch. He told me about the vision he had for my role in the company and how he wanted the company to grow. And it took me a little while to weigh out the pros and cons. So that was the decision maker for me, was like, is this something that I could see myself being passionate about and enjoying? And at the end of the day, I realized I'm still helping people. I'm still connecting people. It's just a different setting.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. So I did it and started with Republic last November. So it's been a journey. It's been a
That's awesome.
learning curve for sure. I feel like I'm still constantly learning stuff every day.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love my team. I love the people I've met. So it's been really good.
That is so awesome. And I love that it's a small business.
Yes.
Great. So what I'm hearing, which is what I tell a lot of people that I have met over the years, is that if you've got this passion, you've got this skill, it can transfer to other industries because as you
Yeah.
said, at the end of the day, you're still helping people. You're still giving them that service. It's still that one-to-one. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing across all of the different career changes, that passion for
Mhm.
people and connecting and it not
Yep.
just being a job. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the one thing that all of my jobs so far in life have had in common, is that it's always in some way I'm helping someone. I'm
Yeah.
helping people find, a new passion. Like with the fitness sales, like I was selling a gym membership. To most people, that doesn't seem glorious.
Yeah, it could
But for
change your life if
me,
you
like,
use it.
absolutely. And for me, like the biggest thing that I loved was getting to sit down with people one on one, learn about them, learn about their goals, learn about like why they're there.
When you're going to excel at that job and get the opportunities for promotion because you're into what you're doing and it's a passion. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. It's hurricane season is just that's what I thought of as I was eavesdropping. I was hearing you talk to someone about what you do. I was listening to you and I said, I love how she put that because I've been hearing the commercials after
Mhm.
all the bad storms in Dallas and had just they had a serious ad buy because it's every time I looked up, they were talking about this is a perfect time. It's a blessing in disguise if your roof got demolished. I'm like, okay, that's
It makes us sound like terrible people.
messed up. But yeah, if you listen to the whole commercial, that's what he was talking about what you broke down about the
Yeah.
timing of filing the claims and getting in
Yes.
there while the money's there. And so when I heard you touch on that, I'm like, wait a minute, is that what that guy meant on the commercial?
Yeah. So that's why there are storm chasers. So I know roofers typically have the reputation for chasing storms. So you see a storm
Yeah.
hit in one area and the next day everyone's there. So everyone's ready to go. Everyone wants the business. And with what our company does, yes, we're there to help, but we take a different approach. So it's
Mm,
not just about trying to go and get business as quick as you can. It's more about teaching the customers we work with why it's so important to do it as quickly as we encourage them to. So a big thing with storms, especially if it's a big storm and it's fresh, a lot of people are going to wait. A lot of people tend to wait until they see damage or there's a leak or something before they have someone look at their roof.
pretty much.
You don't want to deal with it. It's
Yeah.
expensive, it's time consuming. So they wait. So a lot of times when you wait, it's a lot harder to get the insurance approval because you're fighting for it a little bit harder. But whereas when you're doing a fresh off a storm, they know that storm just hit
Okay.
and a lot of people are going to be filing the claims for it. So we talk to our customers, we let them know, hey, we're here to help you. We want you to get this taken care of before it becomes a major issue. And the great thing with our company is that they also offer a maintenance program. So if we do go up there and your roof really isn't ready to be replaced, we'll let you know. We'll say, hey, you do have damage, but we don't think it's enough to warrant you filing a claim. And we would hate for you to file a claim and it get denied and you get dropped by your insurance. So what we
Ooh,
could do is put you on this program where we're coming out to your property once a
yeah.
year, do X amount of work and to help you maintain the quality of your roof. And if there's anything we find, we'll let you know. Otherwise, that's just something we do and it keeps the customer and our company like in contact. And that way, if something happens, they immediately know like they can trust us and we'll be there to come check it out.
That is so cool. And so that's why this insurance side of it and educating on it is so important to me. I know one of the things that I wanted to do was to talk about just the ABCs of insurance. Because I know when I talk to business owners, we're just told, we're pretty much anyone, not just business owners, we're just told we have to have it. We don't
Yeah.
understand the importance of having the right amounts, having the right coverages, having look the right types of insurance for when disaster strikes. We hope it never does, but look at what's happening just with our planet. It's all kinds of disasters, as I said on the previous episode. It's not just hurricane season. We got the wildfires, we have the wind events. It's just
Everything.
everything is happening. So the best we can do is purchase insurance, which the purpose is to come in and make you whole. So if something happens, the worst, and even not just, we're talking about property, and with property and casualty, literally is the line of insurance that we're talking about today. But it could be you. Your disability protects your ability to bring money in if something happens. So you can keep your bills paid and keep your standard of living, your life, your health, your auto, all of these things. The idea is to protect in case, but you're
Yeah.
only protecting if you have the right amount or you have
Yes.
the right type. And how do we know what you have? It's called a deck page, declarations page. So, what I would say, and I like to give homework on this podcast, go get your insurance policies. I tell clients all the time, especially growing up in the Gulf Coast area with knowing hurricanes are coming, have all your coverages, have all your insurances in one place. Just have the documents, have it. Look, scan it now. We're doing things digital, but go look at that deck page. That's going to tell you how much you're actually covered for. Meaning, if something happens, this is what we're going to pay. This is what we're going to pay it for. If something's not listed there or worse, it's excluded. You won't have any money coming if something happens. So, back to the roof. When you go to that client, you're probably asking them for their insurance coverage or something that proves they have coverage, I would think.
So normally what we do is we work with the customer. So like I said, we'll go up there, our sales guys especially, they'll go up there, they'll do the inspection, they'll check for damage, and normally we'll review the damage and we won't even have the customer go through the insurance process if there's not enough damage.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's
only because, so that's a big thing is if we know that there's not a good chance of that roof getting approved, like there's not enough damage or the size of the damage, because we measure like the spatter of the hail and all that.
okay.
So we take all that into account. So usually if we don't really think there's enough, we're not going to put the customer through that. Because
Oh,
sometimes on those tougher jobs, what happens is insurance comes out and they deny it.
yeah.
And then they drop the customer. So then we're having to deal with helping that customer find new insurance and all of that. And it just puts both of us in not the best situation. So on our end, we love to try to help our customers refer them out to other insurance companies just to see if there's someone that can review their policy
That's
and
really
help
cool.
them find another policy that fits their needs. But we try to avoid getting to that step as much as we can.
That is really cool. So you actually help them get that great agent that's going to
Yeah.
go
So
over it with them like I'm doing, but they're going to do it custom to them.
yes. And I've actually, through networking, I've met a lot of wonderful property and casualty insurance brokers that have offered to also lend that helping hand because we'll talk about it. They'll ask if we encounter those things. And
Oh, yeah.
even they've even offered like, hey, this is what we do. And if you have a client that needs a second opinion, we love to go over it with them. Even if we're not the right fit, at least they have someone who knows it to
Yes.
help them, find the next company that they're going to sign with or whatever, just as a helping hand. And it's nice that I get to have those resources to give them as well.
That's such a huge thing because that's just one more thing that the customer would have to deal with that is
Exactly.
totally out of their comfort zone. So the odds
Yeah.
of that happening go way down. What are they really going to deal with that? And even if they do, what are they going to run into? So I love that as a value add that you get involved to actually help them get the right coverages. Or okay, so the question would be, how do y'all get paid then if you're not going to use that insurance?
So we do have some customers, depending on the life of the roof or the damage. We do rarely, obviously, just because of costs, but sometimes we do have people who are willing to pay for it in cash. They're just ready to,
Okay.
yeah, they're just ready to replace it. They know it needs to be replaced. It's damaged, and they have the money set aside, and they don't want to deal
Yeah.
with insurance. And they're just like, you know what? Write me an estimate and tell me how much it's going to cost to replace our roof.
Yeah.
And obviously, not most business owners will do that because it is an investment.
It
But
is.
every now and then we do get those people, and especially
Okay.
people who trust our work. They're usually the ones that are like, "You guys did a great job on one of my other properties. Let's just go ahead and do another one," stuff like that.
Yeah.
So every now and then we do get that as well. Or if insurance comes back and they're not willing to pay for as much of the roof as we would like, we can offer like a coding service or have a legal team fight it as well. So there's options, but we usually try to lead the customer to the best course of action for what they specifically need. So it's more than just getting the contract and getting the money and trying to get as much
Yeah.
money as you can. It's more about actually one explaining to them why whatever it is we suggest is the best course of action and helping them understand the process too.
And you've got that maintenance plan, which I heard you
Mhm.
mention, which if
Yes.
I were gonna pay out of pocket, I would feel a lot better doing that,
Yeah.
knowing that worst case scenario. It's just like they had me put all 4 new tires on my car. I didn't even wanna do that, but
Yes.
because of the warranty, and if anything ever happens, I don't need to worry about tires again. That kinda sweetens the deal.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
That's
hearing you say
usually
that but it's crazy because, no, I didn't wanna get up off that kind of money, but it's like, if
yes.
you do this now,
Mhm.
that sales. If you do this now, I'll just throw in the warranty on one of the tires or something like that. And it just made no sense
Yeah,
to pass up because of the roads. They're crap a lot of times, and
exactly.
just don't even know what's out there. Back to this concept of protection. Yeah, insurance, but
Mhm,
warranty fits into that. So that's really interesting. Okay. And then, of course, with me being a CPA, it's tax
mhm,
time for us now. My latest episode, you can catch it if you're an S Corp or partnership. I don't know when we're going to publish this one, probably right after that deadline. So hopefully you've
mhm,
subscribed, but make sure you subscribe for next tax deadline. But the point is, I'm asking for these type expenses. Because if
mhm.
you're paying out of pocket like that because of a
Yeah,
claim, you can file these things on your taxes, and people forget about that. Businesses probably won't because it's going to be part of that business account and going through our
yeah,
QuickBooks. And I'm going to see it and be like, hey, what's this $20,000? Got that a lot. Hurricane Ida
yeah,
happening in Louisiana, like people had to replace whole buildings and just it's pretty bad, unfortunately. But that's what you want. You want a check coming in to take care of
absolutely.
these things versus no check. And so the idea then is to just if you're paying out of pocket like that, is just to just hold on to your documentation and see how that could
Mhm,
help you on your taxes for that tax year. Because yeah, it's called a casualty loss. Okay.
mhm,
And that there is a form where you can report those things. So that's something to think about too. Okay, let's just say, hopefully not, but we know we live on Earth. Let's just say the worst happens and a person has an issue with their roof right now. What would they
mhm.
do? Step one, step two, step three. And then can you help them if they're not in the Dallas, Texas area?
Yes. So that second part of your question. So we are in Texas. So we have a team at DFW and then also down in Central Texas as well.
Okay.
So Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. So we do have teams in other states that can help. Our guys, they're driving around all day. So they travel. I always let people know, depending on the part of the state, might take us a second to get there. Our guys are pretty good at mobilizing if needed. So
Okay.
that's the biggest thing. So storm hits, let's say, for example, we have a potential customer that one of our guys met with, did the damage inspection and everything, and they decided the roof just wasn't at that stage yet that we could get it replaced. So another storm hits, they're like, hey, storm just hit really bad. Can you come back out and check out our roof again? So same thing, they'll come out, they do a damage inspection, and they actually will type up a report that they give to the customer as well. So that has photos, and in the photos, it explains like what exactly the damage is that we're showing.
Yeah.
And then after that, we do an in-house meeting with our team. We go over it as well to make sure, again, that it is something that we could have the customer successfully file. So after that, we have the customer handle all the insurance. That is all through their insurance holder and all of that. And then once everything gets approved, we do attend like adjuster meetings or engineer meetings as well. We make sure like our guys are there. But yeah, once we get the approval or the customer gets the approval, they let us know, and then we can start pushing into our production team. We have a warehouse where we keep materials fully stocked.
Okay.
So as contracts are coming in and we get things approved, we are able to just mobilize everyone fairly quickly. We have project managers as well that are on site to make sure everything runs smoothly. Our guys are really great about checking in as the project goes on progress as well. And then we give them like maintenance agreements, warranties, all that stuff at the end.
That's really cool. I know we're talking about roofs, property and casualty. Any other types of things that you can help a customer with since they're in front of you? May not be the roof,
Yeah.
something related to that property. Are y'all able to do that, or is that kind of out of your lane?
So for me, it's a little bit different because I'm not in front of our direct customers as much as like our sales guys are. But I know when I'm out, I always tell people if there's anyone in my network or anyone, if there's ever any customer that needs help with like their HVAC or with plumbing or anything like that, we usually have a good network of people that we can refer to help them as well. So we try to take care of them because for us, it's not just about getting that project done in that moment. We want them to stick with us for life. When in 5 years, if another storm hits, we don't want them to have to go through this process with someone else. We want them to trust us and be confident in us and our team to call us up and say, hey, can you guys come back? So that's what we strive for.
That is really great. And Lex, listen, if y'all got to find her on LinkedIn, I know you're gonna give your contact information in a minute, Melissa, but you got to find her on LinkedIn and connect with her in case you have some random question. Because she probably will know and have an answer or know someone who has an answer because she's
Yep.
that connected. I can't believe it's just been November. So not quite a
Yep.
year yet. I would never have thought that the way you
No.
work the room and everyone knows you, but you do the work of following up and building those relationships. And look, you're here. I just put on the spot. I'm like, girl, you want to come on the podcast and talk about this? I would love to have you on for this time of year where just insurance needs to be on our mind all the time, but especially
Yeah,
now, get in the know with where you stand and the condition of your property, like you're saying. If you're on the edge, it might be good to just, do y'all do free consults?
we do. So I always tell people
Okay.
if you just want someone to come take a look at it, I think people get scared with roofers because they expect us to come in and be pushy and just try to get your business. And I'm like, no, if you just want one of my guys to come take a look and just see, we're more than happy to. We can present you with the report and,
That is
walk
awesome.
you through it. Yeah.
So 18 years as Money Doctor, and we're there to help people just like you're doing, pull together all their paperwork
Mhm.
or find out what paperwork they need if they don't have it or get the numbers. One thing too for business claims people need to be aware of, if you've got assets, okay, we talk about that. It sounds like a big word, but it's anything of value that you're going to probably insure. Have
Yeah.
insurance on, okay? You want to make sure that your financial statements, that balance sheet and that profit and loss, which we talk about QuickBooks, it cranks out both reports. And I'm going to be
Yeah.
posting more on those. So definitely follow us on social media. But you want to make sure in your asset section, it's matching what you're showing for coverage. Never
Right.
a lot of business owners, Melissa, I talk to, they don't even have a balance sheet because they're
Oh, Lord.
LLC or they're sole proprietors, and the balance sheet
Yeah.
doesn't help you with your taxes. So a lot of times they'll be paying a bookkeeper, even a CPA, and the balance sheet just gets ignored. But because
Yeah.
I have this insurance background, been licensed, I've had insurance licenses longer than I've had my CPA licenses because I grew up in the insurance business. It's just not something that I do for a living full time. But I know, I think insurance. We grew up
Yeah.
in the property and casualty business. When I was 8, my parents started an agency. And so it just was always something that I heard, didn't quite understand like the importance of it until I got older. But business owners, these insurance companies are requiring tax returns. to legitimize what did you really lose. They want to see fixed asset schedules to confirm that you really had this property and have been reporting it to begin with. So it's a big deal, bigger than roofs, but it all ties together as part of that business owner's investment. A business is an investment. I tell people it's an investment you get to control. Unlike the stock market, you can't really control that, but you can control this. But that also means you have responsibility to protect it. No one's going to come in and do that for you. Although it looks like Melissa will go a long way to help you do that. So that's a good thing. Okay, so how does a person reach you? And I guess you're the go-to person if they're not in the DFW area.
My LinkedIn, you can message me on there. My contact information is in there as well. So you can shoot me an email. And depending on where you're located, what you need, I have a great team and they're always willing to help. A couple weeks ago, I had a real estate agent call me that morning and he said he had a client that desperately needed someone to come check out his property. And I got one of my guys out there that day in the afternoon and it was an hour away. So awesome. Depending on where they are and what you need, I try to make it happen as quickly as possible. Like I said, depending on where the location is, might take us a little bit longer, but we do our best to help people as much as we can.
That's really cool. I love the regional aspect, and you're right about that. People just want to know somebody's coming. You know what I'm saying? When it's bad, they understand it's probably bad for a lot of other people too.
Yeah.
Especially if distance is involved. That's really good. We're going to make sure that we put Melissa's information in the show notes, also on any kind of clips and things that we do from the video so that you can see it. But Melissa, we just appreciate you coming here and sharing this great information.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Always trying to bring information. Yes, we're about taxes. Yes, we're about all things running a business as an entrepreneur or small business. But these are parts of our lives as well. And it just means so much to have a specialist come on and talk about it from your point of view. And I'm going to go ahead and close out this episode and say thank you for listening. Subscribe to the podcast. Please share it with your family and friends. We just appreciate you so much. Oh, and if you enjoyed it, please leave us a review either on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. And until next time, make it a great day, especially for your money. We'll see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.